Hello, fellow survivors, and welcome back to, well, actually, not welcome back because we are going to be discussing something today. As you can probably already see, I have the Steam page open for ARK Survival Evolve. If y'all are not familiar with this is actually where I started saying, welcome back, fellow survivors, and one of the games that I have actually been playing since it first came out. Well, I can't say first came out. I got this game back as of October the 15th, 2015. And back then I paid $15 for it. Then as of last year, I paid an additional $20 for the DLC called Scorched Earth. And you may notice I have a positive review on this. The main reason I put the positive review was back as of the DLC for Scorched Earth, which if you haven't already seen this, it's an early access game, and they have paid DLC. This was very controversial at the time, but what most people don't realize is that at this point in time, the development team, Wildcard, was having financial issues because of a legal battle that they were going through, and the main reason they pushed out a DLC, even though they haven't made the main content yet, was the fact that they needed, sadly, to compensate to be able to bring the game back from the development hell that they got themselves put into. But now we have a new price change. This game is now $60 up front, not including the DLC. And then you can do the bundle for 15% off for $67.98, or you can buy each individual part for $80 total. In my opinion, this game was good for a total of $50 back when it was, with the original price increase of $30 for the game and $20 for the Scorched Earth package. The reason they raised this price was because of apparently indiscrepancy between the console versions and this version for the initial release of the game. Because they are coming out of the early access date as of August the 8th of this year, 2017, if my sources are correct. But right now there's a lot of controversy going on about, well, the fact that this game, besides adding a whole bunch of content, which is their main premise of saying, hey, this game should be worth $60, besides the whole indiscrepancy, they have done little to nothing to listen to their consumers, which, I mean, they have done little bug fixes and fixed some issues with the game, but a lot of the outstanding problems with this game is the fact that they have not done any kind of optimization for the game. You've probably seen on my video that I have basic quality on my videos because for the most part, this game does not run properly. And I'm probably going to blur out my... there, so I don't have to do it for long. But as you can see, I have played this game and I do have it currently uninstalled. My computer just automatically uninstalled it, and every time I try installing it, it flips out. Because it takes so much data now to be able to just have it installed. I mean, this game used to require like 3 gigabytes worth of data, which was kind of understandable for a game of its size at that point in time. But now, whenever I go to install it, it can take anywhere from 3 gigabytes to, I believe the last time I checked was 12 gigabytes whenever they do a patch for the game, which they did frequently. I do have all 3 of the DLCs. One of them is a paid DLC, which is this one, Scorched Earth. And I came to this page just to show you one thing. Just the variety of fun little issues we have with this. in 1 second. I forgot that I have not set that up yet, but I mean, look at this. This is one of the biggest dinosaurs in the game, the Titanosaurus, and it just, I honestly don't know how to describe that. Another visual glitch that occurs every once in a while when you're writing dinosaurs. And I know it looks like I'm riding without a saddle. I am actually on a saddle in this picture. It's a visual glitch that occurs every once in a while. But I mean, you have these kind of glitches where and where basically you have I don't even. And the problem is with the main problem with these glitches right here, these visual glitches, you might think, oh, there's nothing to it. But the main premise of this game is that it is, and that's just a floating dinosaur, is like literally a tamed floating dinosaur there. Probably from a destroyed building, but regardless of that. But the main premise is people have been exploiting this game, and unless the exploit to the extreme, the development team would not touch on the subject. The online play is, unless you're on a private server, is completely out of the question because almost every server I have played on, you can't start the game properly. Well, I can't say that. You can't play the game properly. And you can see some of the people or some of the news articles recently about the price that we're talking about right now. But one of my main issues, like I said, is that it's not optimized whatsoever. There's lots of bugs and glitches, and they're getting ready to release this as is from what I know. And they just really don't want to help the customers in most points. I mean, there has been a few times where they've gone through and banned players who were knowingly cheating, hacking their way through the system. But then those players just go and double up on their accounts and they're scot-free. They don't issue IP bans from what I've seen or heard of. And for the most part, it doesn't really seem that they care about it too much. In these cases, like I said, I originally was okay with the $20 DLC because, like I said, I went and looked into it, like unlike most people did, and knew about the legal issues that they were having, and they released this DLC almost immediately afterwards. They tried to say other reasons for why the game was, or why the DLC was paid for, and it's, if I remember correctly, they also stated that this was a separate development, but a lot of people were upset because their backer funds were being put into it, and that paid DLC shouldn't come out until after early access because the game is still in development and none of the optimizations were done to the base game, which are valid arguments in most cases, but this right here, the whole price doubling on the, or technically in this case it has been quadrupled from its original price, if I remember my mathematics right. No, I'm terrible at basic math. But like I said, I got this game when it was $15 in Steam Market. $14.99 was the original listed price. It then doubled up to $29.99. That was sometime as of 2016. I believe it was sometime in August, April. Oh, wait, April or May is when it doubled up. And now it's doubled up again. Not even this last week. And I honestly just don't know what to think of it. It's like, at this point, it just seems like they're being greedy because, like I said, they haven't helped in solving any of the main game issues. I mean, you can go to any official server And yes, I said official, as in these are the ones that the game puts out there for everyone to use. And I don't want to sound racist, but normally ethnic groups control these servers. And by ethnic, I mean every kind of race. There was a server I went to where it was American, is the best way I can put it. Very hostile American players who would not allow any other kind of building on their server. And then we also had the Russian players, the Chinese players, and they would just form these large groups and would not allow anyone else to play on that server unless they were pretty much going for labor for that particular group. I mean, I remember back on official server 07, the very first server I ever played on, and there was a group of Chinese players. I can't remember. I believe their tribe name at that time was Utopia. And then there was another group that was a subservient of them, but their exact same group. Their alternate accounts were in that group and they were shared. But I went and joined that server and they were extremely hostile to any new player, literally killing them on site. They would destroy any new structures. And this was before the whole transferring between different arcs and the DLC and all that kind of stuff. And the best thing and these players were known to duplicate items using a known exploit. And the only thing that the development team did was ban the main accounts. They didn't go any further into banning the duplicate accounts. They didn't get rid of any of the duplicated items. They didn't compensate any of the players who played on that server. They didn't even do a server wipe. I would have been okay with losing everything I built up for just to make sure that all that cheated stuff was gotten rid of. But they didn't do any of that. They never do any of that. And that's what's really irks me right now. And then, as you probably just heard me say, there's also the issue of the ARK transfer system. Back when they added in the Scorched Earth DLC, they added in, or a little bit before that actually, they added in the ability to transfer dinosaurs, items, and player characters between official ARKs. Now, that might sound like a good thing, and a lot of players utilize it. I even utilized it. But I utilized it to be able to transfer dinosaurs between the two different types of servers, because Scorched Earth has its own complete map with its own unique and exclusive dinosaurs. But they don't get some of the dinosaurs. Like, one of the dinosaurs that I worked hard to get was the Oviraptor, which in-game gives you a boost to the number of eggs laid throughout a time period for mate, well, not even mate boosted dinosaurs, but that's completely separate. But then you have these players who they farm up everything on a server that they control exclusively. And these are still official servers. I'm talking about like the case where Utopia controlled the whole server. They would transfer all this stuff over to another server and this completely steamroll sort of servers where they had weak defenses or something like that. And it just, there should be limits, or I don't know, there should be some kind of restrictions to this kind of gameplay. I mean, certain items I can understand wanting to transfer back and forth, but they're not necessary. Dinosaurs, to be honest, I don't know how to restrict that in a way that would be fair to gameplay while also being able to be utilized. And transfer of character, that's really nice if you can only transfer to from a server, basically, so that way you can't just transfer it back and forth. which is something you can currently do, and I personally have done, trying to get certain dinosaurs for my main server. And to be honest, the last time I played the game, as you can see here, was back as of May the 16th of 2017. I will go ahead and let you know that was 5 days after my birthday. Why did I stop playing this game after my birthday? The main reason was because during that point in time, and unfortunately I don't have any video to show for this because I had to format my system once again, but that's a different subject. But the main reason I stopped playing was I was playing on a server, and it was just a quiet little server, and it was controlled by a larger group. I'm not going to be naming the server or putting out names of groups and all that kind of stuff just because I don't want anyone targeting anyone. But there was the best way I can put it, a small terrorist, a troll, who was harassing one of the smaller tribes in the group, or in the server, and killing off their dinosaurs. To be honest, where the small tribe built, it was a very open area for the person just to pick at them. And they were, like I said, a small group. I think 3-4 people from what I've seen. And I was a single man tribe on that server. It was my secondary server. It was a server where I went to farm certain dinosaurs or resources that I couldn't farm on my main server. So whenever I heard about this trouble through the global chat, I decided to go and help this small tribe. It turns out that it was a Chinese player who was harassing these players because they did not change their Steam name, and I was managed to be able to get it and track down their servers, but I didn't do anything with that information. But the main issue was, after I helped solve the issue for the small tribe, that Chinese player turned around and started targeting me. As I stated, I am a single man tribe, and even though I could fend for myself for a small point, they started bringing in large dinosaurs or not large, but thoroughbred dinosaurs. If you're not familiar with the breeding system, you might want to go look up a video on that. High tier weapons, and he started bringing in help from other servers. All I did was I stopped him from harassing another player, and in turn he started harassing me. And about 2 hours into this small conflict I had gotten myself into, I managed to have killed 3 of their dinosaurs that I knew were legacy breeds because they still had the speed boosts, even though Wildcard said that the speed nerf was retroactive. These pterodons and argents were much faster than what you could get because they were able to outspeed me. But I managed to kill 3 of their birds, killed one of the players twice until they started bringing in more help, and then they managed to bypass my defenses and completely nuke my base. Having that been my secondary server, I'm trying to make sure I don't get my words mixed up, but that being my secondary server, but the only secondary server I had, I was completely devastated when I had lost everything. I was back down to scratch. And it did not stop there. They started harassing the main server I played on. Mostly because I will admit I was dumb and I did not change my username. But I'm one of those people who don't believe in having to change their username to hide myself from potential attackers. I firmly believe that players should own up to their actions. If they're going to go attack someone, why hide behind a veil kind of thing? but that's part of a PvP feature, and to be honest, I'm not much of a PvP player. While I am decent at it, I don't mainly do that. I am more of a PvE player who likes the aspect of having the ability to defend my territory and that kind of stuff. But like I said, that's one of the main issues with being able to transfer your characters and players, being able to transfer dinosaurs, players, items, because they did not have like this Chinese player was known to be transferring back and forth. He would be gone for excessive periods of time. I tracked him down to two other servers that he was frequently going back and forth from, and he was just getting supplies like C4, and I mean excessive amounts of C4. He was getting ascended weapons. He was getting all sorts of different items from his other server, and just bringing it back to this other server he had literally no business on besides harassing players, just to go and wipe me because I was a better player than him. I was able to kill him outright. I think I only died once. No, wait. Yeah, I didn't die a single time while fighting him one-on-one, but when he brought his friend in, that's when I started dying, and I was only dying if I was dumb enough to leave the safety of my security perimeter. But even then, I had very basic security, so it did not last very long. But that's about enough for this rant. In my personal opinion, the game is really great. The main issues are they did not do any kind of optimization. They really don't have a premise for balancing out the game outside of just nerfing some of their current content. Like, if they need to rebalance how transferring goes. They need to rebalance just in general the gameplay. They need to optimize the gameplay. But the main reason they're going out of the the main reason they're going out of early access is not that the game is completely developed like they want to believe. They just added in all the content they were promised, or that they promised. They promised a certain amount of dinosaurs, and they finally hit that limit. They hit that limit not too long ago. Let me see. It should be in their discussions page. Patch notes. Let's see. Oh, right there. These two items have been promised, and this is just completely different, but those two little further out promises were originally promised back in, if I remember correctly, I want to say December of 2015, and they have never held up to that promise. DirectX 12 mode. They don't even work properly on DirectX 11 right now. They added eels. I haven't played in a while, so fuck word. What? But yeah, as you can see, they mostly... I'm trying to find where they last added new dinosaurs in. Huh, that's interesting. I'm not going to go searching through, but it does look like they have done a surplus of fixes recently. But the thing is, their main reason for putting the game back out on market and increasing their price is because they're about to, or putting it back out on market, taking it out of Greenlight and raising the price, is because they met their original promise of, I believe it was 150 unique dinosaurs. But in my honest opinion, the game, while it was worth $15, $30. The DLC is worth the nice little $20 that you have to put down, because that DLC is just a complete game change. Like, you have to worry about unique issues just related to that DLC. It can almost be a game by itself. It didn't have to run off the base game. But for $60, it is not worth it. And to be honest, I cannot support game development, or not game. I cannot support this game for its actions it has taken. So, I do apologize for this little rant. I know it's been 25 minutes, but thank you for listening to me. If you enjoyed the content, please like, favorite, subscribe. Let me know in the comments. It really does help. And until next time, keep on surviving, and goodbye.